Today I have Mindy McGinnis here for a interview for her new release, In a Handful of Dust. So about a year and a half ago, I interviewed Mindy for Not a Drop to Drink. It was her first novel. We had a lot of fun with it. So when I was accepted to be a part of Rockstar Book Tours for Mindy McGinnis's tour, Jamie had kind of made a suggestion that maybe we should do the same thing again, and I thought it was a fantastic idea. Sounds like Mindy thought so too. So without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce you to Mindy McGinnis.
Hi, my name is Mindy McGinnis.
When you wrote Not a Drop to Drink, did you know that you were going to want to write another novel for Lucy's story?
With Drink being set in such a small area, like a 2-3 square mile area, that it might be interesting to explore the world more in another novel with the same setting and the same characters, which I thought was a really interesting idea to expand the scope. But at the same time, I felt that expanding the scope while keeping my characters would be difficult because Lucy is a child, and a road trip with a child in a post-apocalyptic world is just not going to be any fun for anybody. So I thought I would age everyone up 10 years. Let Lucy be the protagonist, bring a new POV, let a more positive angle come in, because Lynn was so dark and bleak and sullen all the time, which is good. I mean, that's sometimes what you have to do to survive. But that's not the only way you can survive. You can also be positive. You can also be happy. You can be Lucy and still be a survivor in this world. So that's what I aimed for with In a Handful of Dust.
Okay, so I live in California and we are going through a severe drought. Do you think that this is something that we should be really, truly concerned about?
Yeah, definitely. It's been an ongoing issue. People have been fighting over water for centuries, but we're just now at a point where the population is kind of tipping the scale and the planet can't support us all, and we're seeing it. Like you said, California is in a big mess right now, huge mess. You know better than I do, but they're predicting further troubles. They're saying for projected 30 years a mega drought for California, which is going to be bad news. Here in my home state of Ohio, very recently, a couple of months ago, there was a huge problem up in Lake Erie, which a lot of people depend on for their water. There was a toxic algae bloom in Lake Erie that made the water, to my knowledge, poisonous. And you could not drink your tap water, you couldn't bathe in it. Even if you boiled it, you did not want to touch that stuff. So there were people in Ohio driving to Indiana to buy bottled water. And there were instances where people from one city were driving to the next to buy water, and people in the next city were like, no, this is our water, you can't have it. So obviously on a smaller scale, nobody got shot, but it's the same scenario on a less violent scale, but it's the same scenario that I enacted in the novel, and it's really scary. It's not something that I am happy to see playing out in real life, for sure. But I mean, you know, I've got a pond, so.
What was it like to write a story about a teen character that you are from a previous book that you saw as a child, but now she is a teen?
I knew that she was going to keep that optimism. She's going to keep that sense of humor. She's going to keep her edge, where she likes to push Lynn. She likes to needle Lynn. She enjoys doing that.
Was In a Handful of Dust easier to write than Not a Drop to Drink, since you already created the world, or was it more difficult because you were more pressed for time?
In a Handful of Dust was much more difficult to write, and it wasn't a time issue. It was because Not Drop to Drink is set in Ohio. It's set in my backyard, more or less. It is the area around me. I didn't have to imagine much beyond massive violence and people dying. So In a Handful of Dust is a cross-country trip. It's a cross-country walking tour. Just scenery. How does scenery change? How is Nebraska different from Kansas? What are mountains actually like? I know because I've seen them, but I've never walked over them. So there was a ton of research involved. Thank God for Google Maps.
So now that you have 2 published books out there, are you a full-time writer or do you still work as a librarian?
I am still working. I am a full-time librarian in the education system at a public high school. I love my job. I actually do, and I don't know many people that can say that.
How do you find time to write?
Finding time to write is always a problem, but I think it would be a problem anyway because writers are really good at procrastinating. That's what we do. Other than write, we procrastinate.
So at the end of Not a Drop to Drink, there was an ending that totally freaked me out. I couldn't even believe that you would do that. I'm a little terrified to read In a Handful of Dust. But should we expect that kind of thing to happen or something like that to happen in A Handful of Dust?
Well, there are no happy endings in my world. This is a bleak world. This is a harsh world. This is not somewhere where the hero comes in and saves the day and people get married and there's kittens everywhere. It's just not, that's not this world. And if that ending was on any of my books, it would make no sense. It would be completely, it would break from the reality that I built. So I can't give you any spoilers, but no, you're not going to be happy when you read my book. You're not going to be happy at all.
So are you planning to have a 3rd novel to the series, or are you working on anything else? Is there anything that you could talk to us about, tell us about that you're writing?
Right now, I do not have any more plans to continue with the Not a Drop to Drink novels. Paperback of Not a Drop to Drink, which released August 26th, I believe that's out now. There is a short story from Mother's point of view before the shortage happened. But I don't have any plans to write another novel as of yet. But we'll see. I never say never. A lot of people have asked me that already, and I wouldn't say no. But my attention is definitely elsewhere. I have a novel coming out in 2016 from Catherine Teagan Books. It'll be out September 22nd. And it is a gothic historical thriller set in an insane asylum titled A Madness So Discreet.
Thanks again, Mindy, for stopping by Magical Urban Fantasy Reads. This was so much fun. I'm always thrilled to interview you because you have the best name in the world. And I hope that you return to Magical Urban Fantasy Reads. Thanks again. Bye.